If you've been researching the best diet to improve your health, then listen up because I'm going to break down 4 of what I think are the most popular ones right now: keto, carnivore, vegan, and paleo. And I'm going to give you my opinion on what works for them and what doesn't. This is going to be a 2-part series. So if you don't want to settle in and listen to me, just type in well-fed below. You can do it on your own. I'll send you my healthy and whole well-fed guide that has shopping lists and recipes, basically everything you need to get started. So if you want to hear what I have to say, in this first part of the video, we're going to break down the 3 things that I think they all have in common, but also what makes them all ineffective in the long term. So if you're ready to have this conversation, let's lean in and let's talk about these diets. All diets control quantity to varying levels of precision. So what I mean by this is look at it on a spectrum. On the far left, you might have paleo that doesn't control calories at all. It just controls what you're eating. You could also fit keto into this category where now you don't really control the the fats and protein, but you control the carbs. Then you go all the way to the other end of the spectrum where you have macros. Now you're going to try to control all your major macronutrients so that you know exactly how much you're getting of those things. Somewhere along this spectrum fits carnivore, vegan, paleo, you name it. Fit in any diet that's out there, and that's what it's trying to do, is control quantity in some regard to some varying level. The problem with our diets are we don't control the overall calories enough with the macronutrients in there to really see the changes in our body. Processed food is the problem. Hard stop. The biggest problem with processed foods are all the nutrients are removed, then they're tried to add back in one at a time by fortifying them, but then they also add in fat, salt, sugar, the things that make it hyper palatable and allow us to overeat them. Nobody's ever overeating carrots and apples and ground turkey and celery. Never happens. There's a natural satiety point and we just stop eating it. But when all those nutrients and fiber are taken out and then they're tried to add back in and they're processed to it, now we're allowed to overeat calories. We're getting more and more calories with less and less nutrients, which is causing us to gain weight, but to be undernourished or even malnourished and under-muscled because we don't have the protein to support the muscle repair and growth that we need. The number one problem is processed foods in all these diets. Sustainability is the most important factor in having a long-term lasting diet that changes you for the rest of your life. The only thing that matters is if you can continue to do what you're doing long-term. Yes, I will give it to you. Some of these can be used in the short term, but at some point you have to develop the habits and make it into a lifestyle of some kind to get long-term sustainable results. If what you're doing right now, you can't see yourself doing in a year or 5 years, then how is that even worth doing unless it's just getting you to a point? And at that point, you're learning how to put these habits in place and learning how to make it a lifestyle, which 99% of the population doesn't do. That's why they fall back into this diet roller coaster, gaining weight back and struggling to have long-term sustainable results. Those 3 reasons are exactly why in the short term these diets could work and even help you lose a significant amount of weight, but in the long term they lead to the diet roller coaster, gaining it back, being frustrated, thinking you can't be successful. The only way you can make these things successful long term is if you're learning the habits and you're making it into a lifestyle. Because all it takes, and you know this, is you go out of town or something changes at home or at work, something derails what you've been doing with this perfect structure because it's not flexible enough and you don't know how to apply it to these different parts of your life, and it falls apart and you fall back into these old habits because you haven't put any new habits in place. In my opinion, that's what working with me does for you. You can talk to the hundreds of people I've helped. They all say the same thing. By the end, it's a lifestyle. It's how they're going to live the rest of their lives. And they love it. It's flexible. They can take it wherever. They can do whatever with it because they have the principles that I'm going to talk about in the next part that allows them to have this lifestyle, to take it on vacations or go to parties or do anything they need to during the week or the weekends so that they can stay on plan. Because it's all about long-term lifestyle changes that lead to the healthiest version of you. And let's talk about those in this next part.